The work you were doing tonight. I mean, the girl looked really good.
Yeah, Sarah, I wish I could take a ton of credit for it, but the coaches back home get most of the credit. Chad's Bingham's Sarah's better half. They have a beautiful baby together. And he's a world-class jiu-jitsu player. We've got Chris Holdsworth and Dustin Akbari and Fabio Prado and Danny Castillo and all these guys that contribute, Mike Malott, to the system that we have out there. And Sarah is such a professional. She actually was rolling 6.5 months into her pregnancy, which is comical, just with the a handful of people that she felt comfortable with. But I mean, I feel like that time off was time for her to improve, get more comfortable. Her last 2 losses have been all on her as far as making a tiny mistake during dominant performances. So to see her get back and show what we know that she can do was pretty awesome.
I mean, you've been around this game for a long time, so you've seen people that have been out for a long time and find ways to make improvements like she did, and you've seen it go the other way too. I mean, was there ever any doubt that she would come out here and be able to just get right back on it and be as good as she was before she left?
There wasn't really a doubt, but like I said, the few mistakes that she made cost her big in the last couple fights, and that was just like mental lapses. So seeing her fight a near perfect fight this time was just good. It was good for her. It was good for the coaches to build on, and really she was going against a Muay Thai world champion. She's an Olympic wrestler, so the game plan's real simple there. But Sarah wasn't in any danger with the stand-up. She's super comfortable, footwork and defense on point. So that's stuff that she's improved on over the last couple of years.
Is this kind of thing, still running the gym and then being able to corner people and do some coaching, is it keeping you satisfied? And that's the easy way to get to like, what's your future? What's going on with you right now?
For me, I'm just enjoying myself. I've got a lot of stuff, and like I said, I have a big staff back home that every single coach is in the corner for these guys. Joey Rodriguez has done a ton of work with Sarah on her hands, and like I said, Chris Holdsworth and Danny and Mike Malott and the guys that are contributing on a daily basis to running our practices. For me, I'm in the gym. I live a mile and a half from the gym. It's what I know, and also doing a bunch of other stuff on top of having a couple fights this year, which has been so much fun. Even in the loss, I had felt like it was Christmas getting in there and throwing down. It's just something that I enjoy. So I'm not sure what's next for me necessarily. Of course, the UFC's, even in my retirement, has thrown out opportunities for me to fight. Dang on the bait, and we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. The weight class is in a spot where I don't think it's ever been like this before. So many champions and decorated guys and exciting fighters, guys that you don't really know as the staple names that are just as dangerous as the guys that have made it, like the Aldos and the Cruzes and the TJs and the Codys and so on. Frankie Edgar. These guys are all legends in my opinion in the sport. And so being in a division right there where you've got the next up-and-comers that are chomping at the heels and trying to make names, etc., is fun. So we'll see what happens with me. And as of right now, I'm just enjoying being a dad and living each day in the moment and having fun.
Is it just a matter of them dangling the right bait in front of you or catching you at the right moment?
Yeah, I stay in great shape.
Yeah.
In my retirement, I was really retired, meaning wasn't thinking about fighting, etc., other than they were offering me fights here and there. And over that time, I stayed in great shape. My weight got a little away from me, and I wasn't doing any sparring other than a couple of rounds with Chad Mendez and Cody Garbrandt every once in a while, or some new guy comes in the gym that you got to get your hands on him just to test the water. But I was few and far between. But I was really heavily into the grappling stuff because that's one of my favorite and safest ways to train. And so I stayed in great shape, but getting in the fight mentality is a different animal. It took me a couple months into teasing myself to get fight ready, but I'll stay fight ready at this point. There's no reason not to, and just see what happens. I got to talk with the guys and see if something sounds good. But like I said, if I feel the itch, I'm a guy that lives in the moment, and also it's a great payday every time you fight too, on top of being a lot of fun, and so it's something to think about, but no plans immediately.
As far as being in the moment, if they were to bend you something, would you prefer it to be? You mentioned earlier a young up and coming guy, or one of these kind of legends like yourself. You rattled off a few of them. A lot of them you've already faced, and one passed to another. Which kind of would you prefer?
I just want the fights that are going to matter. I think the fight against Peter Yan was one that was intriguing to me because, first and foremost, he's got a lot of, although not the general public knows him that well, he's got, with the diehard fans, they understand what a dangerous guy he is. And I know for a fact he's going to be in this game for a long time doing big things. And I like those kind of fights because you sneak in a win over a guy like that. 8 years down the road, he might be the legend that's coming back, or somebody that was a title holder or something like that. And I'm in this looking at it as a really cool thing to be a guy that's been able to span a 20-year fight career, and that reaches far and wide. I fought Jens Pulver, the first UFC world champion. For the lightweight fighters who fought BJ Penn, and BJ Penn fought Matt Hughes, and who fought Georges St. Pierre. You can go on and on. To have a career that spans maybe 40, 50 years, if you could, do the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, or however you want to slice it, I like that. And so fighting a guy like Peter got my blood flowing. If I find someone else that gets my blood flowing, may jump in there, but other than that, I'm just kind of chill.
What year was your first pro fight?
2003.
Okay, so you just missed the 90s by a smidge because you could have had that 4 decades.
Exactly. But I was wrestling, and that was when I was in college. That was kind of the dark ages of mixed martial arts. In high school, they're on pay-per-view and everything else, and then all the bands were happening and whatnot, and I was busy studying, wrestling, working, living the good life in college, and never forgot the fight game. But there was a lot of stuff happening, like the dark ages with Frank Shamrock and Miletich. Those guys didn't ever really get the shine that I think they should have because it was underground. So I got into the mix and was just loving it. It's crazy to me to think that I've had 46 fights because it doesn't feel like that to me. That's a big long career, but for me it's just like, man, I've just been living the dream, to be honest.
46 is a lot of fights. Is there? I know you're taking a day at a time. 50 is such a perfect round number.
Yeah, it is a round number. Trust me, when you're a lifetime fighter that loves it, you think of all sorts of excuses to get yourself back in there. But 50 is a nice round number. Having a couple of big super fights is always exciting. When I came back, and I had said this in an interview right after I retired. Ariel Helwani was asking me if I would come back, and I said, maybe when I'm 40, just like a life hack, and then I was saying to myself, I got 4 fights on my contract, maybe I'll do 4 fights after 40, just doing this kind of stuff, and then, I'm 2 into 4 fights after 40, so maybe I'll do 2 more, who knows, we'll see. I love to fight, though, you guys know that. I mean, the hardest part about a loss is making it. I got a video, I should probably post a video of me comforting my grandma, my mom, showing, hey, I just got a couple of stitches, no big deal, hanging out with the baby, you win, you lose in sports in general, and for the guys that understand football and basketball and soccer, the naysayers aren't ever like, oh, should the whole team that lost in the Super Bowl retire? And it's like, no, you never hear that. Our game is a fun sport, and I've luckily lived a healthy lifestyle from the womb, thanks to my parents, and outside I've lived an abusive style, so I've been able to stay young, but you don't want to be doing this thing forever, so I'll be smart about it and yay or nay opportunities as they come.
Thanks, man.
Cool. Got it, guys.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.